Hello, welcome back to Tarot by Lodestone Productions, where we help you discover your true north. I am Aditi, and this is a message for whenever this message reaches you, because Spirit is not bound to our time and space continuum, and so the only time by which we tell time is divine time. Dig what I'm saying? So let us check our spiritual voicemail and see what's what. Shall we? Do let's. Here we go. You're in. Magician, Empress, Seven of Cups, Ace of Wands, Eight of Wheels, and Nine of Swords. Okay, so analysis paralysis and fear of success. But this fear of success isn't keeping you from actually working towards it. It's like, so you've got all of the tools that you need to reach the level of success that you want. You also have the creativity that is necessary to make something out of nothing. With the Seven of Cups, like the world is your oyster. You can go in any direction that you want, right? Ace of Wands, there's actual like passion that can be used to push you towards whatever it is that you want to do. And then you've got the Eight of Wheels here. You've actually been working on all of these things, but the Nine of Swords is coming in right at the tail end of this layer, and just like, well, what if you fail? But what about, and remember that time, and in the third grade, just all this self-doubt and self-sabotage, these thoughts that are telling you that you are not worth it. And the thing is, this is the only card like that in this spread. So what I'm seeing is you've got all of these things working towards you, but you've got that one tiny voice back off in the corner. And that tiny voice back off in the corner is literally the culmination of every disappointment you have ever suffered in your entire life, waiting on the other shoe to drop. Even though what life is showing you does not support that. Temperance, the Moon, Ace of Swords, Ten of Wands, Judgment, and Page of Swords. Okay, so yeah, it doesn't, everything else before that doesn't support that Nine of Wands energy, right? Not in the way that it's trying to come out here. So with having all of these options available to you, we do know that not all choices are good choices. Okay, right? But when we talked yesterday about like having the unmitigated gall, the unmitigated gall is part of the ingredients that you need to temper. But you have to have it, because you can't just walk around in self-depreciating humility your whole life and then expect to see success. Like, that's just foolish. So there has to be, the elements need to come from different sources if they're going to actually work together and fulfill parts that other elements don't have. And you don't know what you don't know, right? Because this path is revealing itself one cobblestone at a time, the only thing that you can really look at with certainty is what you have already experienced. But as far as what's in front of you, you are on a need to know basis with the moon. And that's it. But the moon is actually clarifying, even though your path is narrow with this Ace of Swords, the moon is still clarifying the path that you need to take. Light up like the Billie Jean sidewalk. It's just a girl thing. She says, I am the one. Yeah. But the kid is not my son. He. Okay, so I'm not going to break out into the, it's in my head. Oh, it's stuck in my head. Okay, Spirit. All right, get it together. Okay, we're back. So 10 of Wands, Judgment, and Page of Swords. Not knowing is, it's a point of contention. Yeah. Especially when you find yourself in this position where you need to have control over everything. You need to know what's going on here and there. Like you need to know it all, right? And Spirit is saying, no, you don't need to know it all. You need to know that you need to move, and that's it. Yeah, but what are you moving for? What are you moving towards, right? Even if you do all of the things that Spirit has requested or directed you to do, this payout may not necessarily be, this Page of Swords, this payout may not be what you think it needs to be at this stage in the game. But the thing is, where you think that you're only a part of the way through because you've reached a milestone, you've reached a milestone, not the finish line. If you're still waking up in the morning, you got some other poop to do, right? So it does become cumbersome with the 10 of Wands. Cumbersome, I say. But Judgment is here. And what I'm seeing is like Spirit is actually seeing you going through these steps, completing the directives as assigned, and also asking the right questions about what to go, how to go, what to do, and what courses of action to take, depending on the situation, right? And because of that, you're learning new things about how you are being called to show up in this world. But you still have to go through these changes here with not knowing what's going to happen next, just knowing this one beam of information. And even though that road is hard, you still take it. Spirit sees all of that and is also showing you and giving you glimpses of enlightenment to boot. Knight of Swords, Four of Swords, Queen of Swords, Queen of Wands, Ace of Wheels, and Four of Cups. Really? What is with this position tonight? Okay. So, with all of that information and that enlightenment, it takes you from being a dirt road to a major thoroughfare in a major metropolitan city. Okay. With that, you're dealing with way more vehicles, AKA thoughts, right? And you have to sift through them with a greater degree of efficiency. It's what the Knight of Swords does. Separates the wheat from the shaft quickly. But while this Knight of Swords is sorting through all of this hoo-ha, because he does it with such grace, it almost feels like you're on vacation while you're receiving all of this information. But that's because you're becoming adept at it. Remember, down here at the beginning, this Eight of Wands, you have been putting in work, and it is showing, because you went from Page to Knight to Queen of Swords. You're doing what you need to do to keep your mind sharp. Also, with the Queen of Wands, there may be a opportunity for you to indulge in a bit of luxury, or indulge in a bit of and I keep doing this. Luxury does not necessarily mean something that you wear or use, because what I'm hearing is like the luxury of telling someone precisely how you feel, the way you want to say it. The luxury of being fiery. You may have to give someone a hard truth or an ugly truth. And that just might be it. But this Ace of Wheels with all of this information, you may have to sort through information and then report in a very matter-of-fact kind of way. But this is actually lining you up with some financial gain with the Ace of Wheels. But because this stuff isn't coming like you think it should be coming, because, Earth takes a minute, you may either miss some things, or you may just be bored with what you've got going on. So which is it? Two of Cups, Three of Cups, High Priestess, Ten of Swords, the Fool, and the Devil. Be mindful of becoming bored with where you are. Yeah, be mindful. Yeah? Because that's when distractions come in. When you start feeling like you got this thing licked, Spirit has a way of coming in and rearranging things to let you know that actually, no, you don't. Let me just test your gangster. And that's kind of what I'm seeing here with the Two of Cups, Three of Cups, High Priestess. Like, okay, you've worked really hard and have really invested in your spiritual life, right? You're doing things. Okay. Well, while you're doing things, we're going to throw some new love in here, and we're also going to throw in some dipshittery with your social circle to see if you actually handle this the way that that is in alignment. That you handle things that is in alignment with the way that one would if they were like a true high priestess. Golly, really? Ow. Okay. Ten of Swords, the Fool, and the Devil. I mean, yeah. There's shit. Something is going to come to an end, going to come to a dramatic or possibly sudden end. And because of that, you are going to feel free to do what I want any old time. Yeah. And in that space of freedom, because we talked about not being spoiled for choice, right? No, we talked about being spoiled for choice and having all of these things just kind of like lining up for you. And it would make sense that if things are looking that good, if your future is so bright that you got to wear shades, it would make sense that there would be a test forthcoming. And here it is. Here's the test. Wow, okay. All right. Hanged Man, Seven of Swords, Knight of Wheels, Five of Wheels, Page of Wands, and the Knight of Cups. Okay. These two. All right. So, Forrest Gump. Oh, Forrest Gump. So I talked about beaches yesterday. I'm going to talk about Forrest Gump today. Now, and Lieutenant Dan in particular. Lieutenant Dan was all about the fight. He grew up in it. He was raised in it. He was raised to do it. And he took that on and embodied it, and was in the midst of that embodiment when we came to know him through Forrest Gump, right? And Lieutenant Dan had a story that was longer than what he originally anticipated. And so he had to figure out what he was going to do with that. He had to make some very significant changes as it pertains to how he viewed the world, and it was not easy. The Hanged Man. There was a point in the movie when Lieutenant Dan decided that he wasn't gonna fight God anymore. But he had to get to that point his own way. With the Hanged Man, you may be doing something until you can't do it anymore. And then there comes a moment where you stop doing that thing, and you're also at peace with not doing that thing. Hanged Man. Seven of Swords, Knight of Pentacles. With the Seven of Swords, there may be some discussion about your Hanged Man moment, because this is it's a realization that this world and its inner workings are bigger than you, the individual. And if you want to move forward, you're going to have to find a different way to do so. Now, in finding that different way of doing so, there are going to be people who were beneficiaries of your energy before you got to this hangman action. You might have been the life of the party. You might have been the wild man and or woman, right? Always doing some weird shit, being the one that the stories are about, right? And when you stop doing that and stop providing them with free entertainment, they may get upset about it. Okay, well, fucking stay mad. They're gonna talk anyway. So do with that what you will. But there's reward here. And this reward's been a long time coming. Like, this Knight of Wheels comes up a lot on this page. But yeah, there's a large reward here. Another reason why I brought up Lieutenant Dan is because with the Knight of Wheels taking forever to show up, what you've got going on with your resources may not look like you want it to look with the Five of Wheels. There was a time in the movie, in Forrest Gump, when they were out there shrimping and not catching anything. And Forrest prayed and went to church and talked to God. Forrest had a spiritual walk. He had a spiritual life, right? And Lieutenant Dan did not at first. And so Lieutenant Dan, after a very unsuccessful haul, looks at Forrest, very unsuccessful haul, Five of Wheels, looks at Forrest and says, "Where's your God now?" And Forrest says, in that moment, God showed up. Five of Wheels. In that moment, God showed up.